Imagine a world where the unthinkable has become reality. Humanity's darkest fears have come true, and World War III has engulfed every corner of the planet. The skies burn red with the trails of missiles, and cities crumble under the weight of conflict. What will remain when the ashes settle? Can civilization recover, or is this the end of modern society as we know it? In this video, we unravel the gripping story of the post-war world, from its apocalyptic beginnings to the fragile new dawn. Buckle up, because the answers will shock you. The shadow of global conflict loomed over humanity since the end of World War II. The Cold War, regional skirmishes, and increasing geopolitical tensions were warnings of a greater storm brewing. Yet decades of relative peace lulled the world into a false sense of security. No one anticipated how quickly this storm would erupt into a catastrophic war reshaping the planet. How did we let this happen? The spark was lit by escalating tensions between two major power blocs, NATO and a coalition led by Russia and China. Years of economic sanctions, cyber attacks, and military posturing strained relations. The final straw came on August 17, 2034, when a naval skirmish over disputed islands in the South China Sea spiraled out of control. Diplomacy failed, and within weeks, the first shots of World War III rang out. On September 1, 2034, the war began in earnest with a devastating blitz. Hypersonic missiles rained down on military installations, and nuclear strikes targeted densely populated cities. Washington, Moscow, Beijing, Berlin, and Tokyo were among the first to fall. Entire metropolises vanished within seconds, leaving nothing but rubble and ash. The scale of destruction was unprecedented. Global supply chains collapsed, and financial markets became irrelevant in a world struggling to survive. The war was not confined to bombs and bullets. Cyberspace became a critical battlefield where nations deployed advanced AI-driven attacks to cripple each other's infrastructure. Power outages plunged countries into darkness, disrupting water supplies, hospital operations, and communication networks. Meanwhile, disinformation campaigns sowed chaos among populations, making it nearly impossible to distinguish ally from enemy. On the ground, the battles were no less horrifying. Autonomous drones patrolled the skies, striking targets with eerie precision. Soldiers equipped with exoskeletons fought in urban ruins, while civilians fled en masse. Refugee camps reached unprecedented sizes, draining the fragile resources of neighboring countries. The human toll was staggering. In Europe, the fiercest battles unfolded in Poland and Ukraine, where NATO forces clashed with Russian and Chinese troops. Tactical nuclear strikes devastated strategic positions, leaving vast swathes of land uninhabitable. Russian advances were initially swift, capturing major cities like Kiev and Warsaw. However, NATO's counteroffensives, bolstered by technological superiority, gradually turned the tide. Asia saw equally brutal conflict. The Korean Peninsula became a flashpoint, with North Korea launching an invasion of the South. This escalated into a full-scale war involving the United States and Japan. Battles raged across the region, with Seoul and Pyongyang reduced to rubble. In the South China Sea, naval engagements decimated fleets on both sides, disrupting global trade routes. The Middle East became a battleground for resources, with rival factions vying for control of oil fields and waterways. Proxy wars erupted, fueled by external powers seeking to secure strategic advantages. Africa, too, was drawn into the conflict, as new alliances formed and regional skirmishes escalated into full-scale wars. Russia, positioned as the aggressor in this war, faced mounting opposition. Its initial successes in Europe and Asia were overshadowed by internal dissent and economic collapse. Sanctions from neutral nations crippled its economy, while anti-war protests erupted in major cities. By 2035, the Russian military was overstretched, fighting on multiple fronts with dwindling resources. On April 15, 2035, NATO forces launched a coordinated counteroffensive, retaking key territories in Eastern Europe. Advanced drones and cyber warfare played a pivotal role in neutralizing Russian defenses. By June, Kyiv was liberated, and NATO forces pushed further into Russian-held territory, reclaiming cities like Minsk and Vilnius. The turning point came in November 2035, when a massive uprising within Russia's borders destabilized the government. Dissidents, fueled by years of oppression and war fatigue, seized control of major cities. The Kremlin was stormed, and President Vladimir Sokolov was overthrown. A provisional government sought an immediate ceasefire. On October 3, 2036, a fragile armistice was signed. The war had left all major powers exhausted, their economies shattered, and populations decimated. Over 1 billion lives were lost, and entire nations were wiped off the map, reduced to uninhabitable wastelands. Those who survived faced a grim new reality. Post-war negotiations were grueling. Russia was declared the primary aggressor and held accountable for war reparations. Its territories were divided, with Siberia becoming an autonomous region under international oversight. The once mighty nation was now a pariah, struggling to rebuild amid sanctions and isolation. Reparations included vast resource concessions, particularly in oil and natural gas, to fund the reconstruction of war-torn regions. Russian oligarchs were forced to liquidate assets, and a portion of its military arsenal was dismantled under international supervision. These measures aimed to prevent any resurgence of aggression. The global landscape was irrevocably altered. The United Nations, unable to prevent the conflict, dissolved. In its place, regional coalitions and corporate entities gained unprecedented power. Governance became fragmented, with localized authorities filling the void left by weakened national governments. Europe, devastated by the war, embarked on a monumental reconstruction effort. The European Union restructured, focusing on renewable energy and advanced technologies to rebuild infrastructure. Cities like Berlin and Paris, once in ruins, became symbols of resilience and innovation. Asia faced a divided future. China, crippled by the war, underwent a political transformation. A new leadership emerged, prioritizing economic recovery over military ambitions. Japan and South Korea strengthened their alliance, becoming leaders in regional stability and technological advancement. The Americas, relatively shielded from direct attacks, emerged as key players in the post-war order. The United States, despite suffering significant losses, leveraged its technological prowess to aid global recovery. South American nations, united by necessity, formed a cooperative alliance to rebuild and stabilize their economies. Africa, long marginalized in global affairs, found an opportunity for unity and growth. Regional coalitions invested in sustainable development, transforming war-torn areas into hubs of innovation. Solar farms and advanced agricultural techniques revitalized communities, offering a blueprint for resilience. Russia's path to recovery was arduous. Under international oversight, its industries were repurposed for civilian use. Education and healthcare systems were rebuilt from scratch, emphasizing transparency and accountability. However, mistrust lingered, and its role on the world stage remained uncertain. Environmental consequences of the war were catastrophic. Nuclear fallout and ecological destruction accelerated climate change, leading to extreme weather events. Efforts to mitigate these effects became a global priority, with unprecedented collaboration between nations and corporations. Amid the devastation, stories of resilience emerged. In Eastern Europe, communities banded together to rebuild homes and schools, fostering a sense of unity. Grassroots movements championed peace and cooperation, ensuring future generations would not repeat the mistakes of the past. Technological advancements born from wartime necessity found new applications in peace. Autonomous drones were repurposed for disaster relief, and AI-driven systems optimized resource distribution. These innovations became cornerstones of the post-war recovery effort. As the world looked to the future, the lessons of World War III served as a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction and resilience. The hope for a more united, peaceful world endured, driven by the determination to rebuild and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. If this thought-provoking journey into an alternate reality intrigued you, don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to our channel for more captivating stories exploring what-if scenarios that challenge our understanding of the world. Together, let's uncover the possibilities of the past, present, and future.